Hi, in this video, I will show you how to add the TestNG dependency or libraries into the Maven project. Also, I will show you how to create the reports, use the TestNG priority parameters. And finally, I will show you how to run your test cases from XML file. Let's get started. So I'm going to open up my project. Okay, so if you're using a Maven project, this is very easy to add your TestNG dependency. Just open up your pom.xml file and go to the open up your browser and just type in download TestNG dependency. Make sure that this is from MVN repository. Click on this, and this is the most stable version of the TestNG. Click on this and come to the box. Select all these. After you copy that, go to your project, open up your pom.xml file. Mine is already open. And then paste your dependency right here, right here. And after you paste it, I already have it, so I'm not going to do it. Just reload all that project, refresh your project, and then you will be, then the dependency will be downloaded in your Maven project. So this is how you can have the dependency for the TestNG. And now let's get to how we can use the TestNG priority parameter, right? So let me name this class report and priority. And I'm going to call this XML, right? Report priority XML, because I will show you how to generate the report, how to use the priority parameters, and also how to execute your test cases from the XML file. Okay, all right. So let's start first with the parameters, priority parameters. If you successfully set up your project with a Maven and also added your TestNG dependency, you will see this when you type add test. Add test means test cases in TestNG, and it should come from the org TestNG annotation. Okay, so select this one, and then let me create a method, and I'm going to call this method, let's say login, right? Login. And inside the login, I'm going to type in test1. So let's say I type this one. And I want to create more test cases. But because these test cases are pretty simple, and I just had only text to print, I just copy. Why they are here? Because they have the same name. Let's call this, let's say, title, okay? And this is what? This too, right? Then this, call this, let's say, and let's call this whatever name, it's not important, terminate, right? And test3, and finally test4. All right, so now if you want to execute these cases in this sequence, right? So you want to execute first, second, third, and fourth. So let's run it by default, how the TestNG execute these test cases. All right, so as you can see, this is not the way that we were looking for, right? We wanted to execute this one first, then second one. So this is not the way that we wanted. How we can control this, how we can change the priority, the sequence. For example, I want to execute this one first. Then you can use something called priority parameters. For example, I want to execute this case first, and then I want to execute this one second. And the same way, I want to execute this one third. And then I want to execute this last one, right? This last one fourth. All right, so this is the way that through the priority, you can prioritize, you can control the execution, the sequence execution of your test cases. Sometimes in the real world, you might need to prioritize your test cases. For example, you want to make sure first that the URL for the website opens, right? And is not down. The second, you want to log in. And the third, and et cetera, you want to do that. So let's run it now again. All right, so now this is the way that we want it to. We want to execute this first, second, third, and fourth. All right, so this is the way that you can prioritize, you can control by using the priority parameters. So now, also in the real world, you don't execute your test cases just by clicking here, right? You want to execute your test cases by using something called XML file. XML file, especially, it's useful if you want to integrate the TestNG with another plugin, such as Jenkins and some other tools, Sauce Lab. In that case, you need to use the TestNG, you need to use the XML file, okay? So to do that, and especially in this IntelliJ IDEA, you just need to go to your setting, just click on the file. If you're on Windows, click on the setting. In the Mac, IntelliJ IDEA, preferences. Select the plugin and then make sure that Marketplace is selected and type in XML, right? Type XML. This is the first one, and say that create a TestNG XML. Just install this and okay. Now we need to restart your TestNG for your plugin to work. So I'm gonna close this, okay? So let's close this and I'm gonna open it up again. All right, so I open it and I create TestNG, okay? All right, so after you create it, now what you need to do, you need to click on your project and just select create a TestNG XML, right? Then click on this and okay. And now what you need to do, you need to reload your project, right? And as soon as you reload your project, here, right here, you can see that your TestNG XML file created, okay? Open this up. Right now, this is not the way that we want it to. We want to reformat the code. Just click on the code and then come reformat the code, right? So by right now, all the test cases has been selected, right? Login, title, home, terminate. Then as I can say, through this XML file, you can decide which test cases, which classes you want to execute and which class you want to ignore. For example, by default, if I run this, how you can run it, you can right click and run it, right? It's going to execute all the test cases because by default, all the test cases has been selected, right? So what about if I don't want to execute? I want to execute only 2 of the 4. Then in that case, I can comment this out and let's run it again, okay? Run it again. So there you go, 1 and 2. So as I told you, you can execute, you can decide which to do the XML files. You can decide, for example, you can also go from the package. For example, if there are multiple package with a lot of classes, you can decide which one to execute and which one not to execute to do the XML file. So let's say that, let's say if your project comes like this, right? And right now we want to execute only, let's say this class, and let's go to class. And then what you need to do, you need to start from your package, right? What's the package name? Is your TestNG. So we select the package and then you hit the dot, and this is our class. We want to execute only this class. If there are multiple classes, like let's say there are a lot of classes, you can select only one classes. And if you want to execute more classes, just again, you create another. What you need to do, you create another class and you decide which other classes you want to execute. All right. So with the XML file. All right. So this was about the XML file. That this is the way that you need to you can run your test cases. Let's actually run this now because there are 4 test cases in this class, right? It's executing all of them. All right. So, okay, this was about how you create the XML files. What about the reports? How you can generate the report and TestNG? So there are some settings by default that you need to do that. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to your run, edit configuration, okay? When you're in edit configuration, and then click on the listener, and then you need to have 2 listeners to create the reports. The first one is called emailable reports, okay? And second one, you need to type what was the name for that? Fail report, right? Fail report. And click on that, make sure that it comes from the TestNG. Select on that, apply, and okay. Okay. All right. So now let's reload this. And after you reload this, let's run this again. All right. So right now, after you run it, you see that there is a new folder, a test.output created. You click on this, and now this is the report that just generated. So how you can view, you can right click on it and then come to open in and with the browsers and then open out with the Google Chrome. Okay. All right. So in this case, you can actually view your reports in which one passed and which one failed. All right. So let's say that if you want to fail one of these test cases, we can do that, right? So that it can be shown in the report. We can say assert equals 2. So this one definitely failed because 2 is not equal to 4, right? All right, so let's run this again. Click on TesgNG XML file and run it. So this one failed. And let's open this out again. Browsers and Google Chrome. All right, so now we can see one of the test cases failed. So 3 passed, 1 failed. All right, so that's it. That's it. This is how you manage the priority parameters, generate the reports, and also how you can download add the TesgNG dependency in your Maven project. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.